So good morning. Was the presentation arrives. I'm Ana Granados. I'm the director of the European Forum of Farm Animal Breeders and the Secretary General of RTP, a technology platform and network scientists working in the field of animal genetics and reproduction in Europe. EFAF is an European association. We work in Brussels. So we can go directly to the next one. I'm going to give you the perspective of our members. Our members are a breeding organization, breeding and reproduction organization across Europe. We have also members in UK, Norway, Switzerland. I'm going to go through the presentation. First, I'm going to explain you who we are. And after, I'm going to go through these 4 topics. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all related, linked. So I'm going to explain you a bit the European context for animal breeding and farming. A very interesting previous presentation on reproduction techniques. I was thinking about what some people will think about it in Europe. I'm going to give a word on responsible, sustainable, and balanced breeding concept that we are promoting. It's more communication. And our members' perspective on breeding and biotechnologies. Having also a word on the societal and ethical aspects of genome editing in Europe. So this is EFAF. It's about 50 organizations in all these species, genetics of poultry, pigs, ruminants, aquaculture, and a bit of insects recently. We are the voice of the sector. We are engaging in policy and legislation. And we support and promote responsible and balanced breeding through a code of good practice called EFABAR. There is a poster in the poster session outside giving more details about it. So we engage with policymakers, with society, with NGOs and other stakeholders on the role of animal breeding and reproduction in animal farming in the at European level. We do it alone as the voice of breeders, but we do it also in collaboration with other livestock organizations in Brussels. We collaborate with other people, and one example is the European Livestock Voice, which is a platform. The purpose of this platform with other 11 associations is to give to give more voice to science-based arguments to have a more balanced debate on the livestock around the livestock sector and aquaculture in Brussels. So we have also FaberTP. FaberTP, as I said, is a network of scientists working in the field of animal genetics and reproduction, and we're a bit is a recognized platform by the European Commission to give inputs on research gaps in the field, and all the EFAF members are also members of the FaberTP. So in this next slide, I explain a bit what we do. We are also a knowledge provider. We try to translate science to policymakers and stakeholders. We are involved in many European projects. So that's our role, to try to translate science. So let's go to the context and challenges in Europe for animal farming and breeding. 3 years ago, the European Commission published the European Green Deal. The European Green Deal is a political commitment to make Europe the climate neutral by 2050. And the European Green Deal is around many different areas. It's not about only about food. It's about energy. It's about mobility. It's about the industry. How to make the economy climate neutral. So when it comes to food, we have a specific strategy within this European Green Deal, the Farm to Fork strategy. I don't know if you have heard about. In this slide, we can see the main objectives of the Farm to Fork strategy. It aims to reduce the use of antimicrobials. It aims to reduce the use of pesticides, the nutrient losses, and to increase the land dedicated to organic farming by 2030. There is an additional objective that I have added here, is that under the Farm to Fork strategy, we intend to revisit all the legislation dedicated to animal welfare in Europe. Revisit the legislation or add new legislation for the species that are not currently covered by the legislation. So in this context, what about biotechnologies? I suppose you are aware about the ruling of the Court of Justice in Europe in 2018, which is under the scope of the GMO directive. So from a legal perspective, genome editing is GMO. So since the Commission has been working to see how to implement the GMO directive for genome editing. And under the Farm to Fork context, NGTs have been recognized last year by the Commission that they are the NGTs, so new genomic technique, can contribute to sustainability. So GMO directive is not fit for purpose because it is not integrated new technological progress. And there are research gaps that has to be investigated. When it comes for plants, the Commission has decided to make a new policy, a new legislation. So they started a policy action. And when it comes to animals and microorganisms, they have said that we don't have enough safety data. So we have to investigate it more. And we perhaps will start later a policy action. So what we do in Brussels, what mainly we do is to communicate, as I said before, we explain to policymakers, to stakeholders in a very simple way, what is animal breeding. And I don't have to explain you what is a breeding program, but that's the way we do it. It's a balanced and responsible combination of breeding goals, traits. That's what we do with Code-FAVAR. It's a communication tool. Code-FAVAR is a voluntary initiative for our members. They adopt it. And in this Code-FAVAR, with this Code-FAVAR, we explain, okay, that was the past. That's what we were doing in Europe in the 70s and the 80s. It's a simplistic way to explain it. We have a lot of pressure from NGOs saying that selective breeding has decreased animal welfare, for example, has put in danger animal welfare in farm species. And now this is animal breeding in the 21st century. Again, as I said, there is a poster outside explaining a bit better this Code-FAVAR. In Code-FAVAR, we have also a chapter on the responsible use of technologies. Again, I'm not going to go through this, but it's just saying that we have to consider all the pillars that were considered before. So better animal health and welfare, better use of resources, keeping genetic diversity. We have to consider them when we use technology. And the purpose is to be transparent for these stakeholders I was mentioning before and policymakers. So which are the FFA-TP concerns related to genome editing? It can be, of course, for other techniques, for other reproduction techniques, but that's the most trendy one that we have at the European level at this moment. So FFA-TP members, they see opportunities on genome editing to improve these traits. 85% of FFA-TP members consider that we can improve animal health with genome editing tools. 48% consider we can improve animal welfare. And there is, of course, a strong research tool. Our members, I think, it is the European context. They don't consider currently to improve other traits, productivity, or other ones in this European context. These are the main ones that are considered now. That's our position. This is in our website. So, second concern is about what the Commission was asking us. We don't have enough safe data. So there are research gaps. We need more research and innovation. That's what we are asking, to provide the Commission on safety data to start a policy action in the future. We need regulation. We need new regulation because the GMO directive, whatever our companies they want to apply or not for genome editing, the current legislation is not fit for purpose for animals. We don't have guidelines from EFSA, the European Food Safety Agency, and we don't have the way to apply because we don't have detection methods, and the procedure asks for that detection method. So the third pillar is that we have to engage discussions on the societal aspects, on the ethical aspects of the technique. That's what the society is asking, NGOs and also policymakers. So we have to increase awareness about breeding and genome editing, but it's a separated conversation for us. So we can increase in that way transparency. I wanted to show you some slides on the pressure we have in Europe, at European level in Brussels. That's the wording from NGOs about breeding, just breeding, selective breeding, not about genome editing, not about artificial insemination, just breeding. So we have some examples here. And when it comes for genome editing, that's more or less the same, of course. So the conversation has to be done. That's what we try to do. And for that, we need to know what from societal science, from social science, we need to know what we can do, what we can explore, which solutions we can explore, which applications we can explore. That's an example of some of the projects that are currently ongoing at European level. There are national projects, there are European projects. I mean, there are different ones, but at the end of the day, the conclusions are more or less the same. This is the vision from stakeholders, but also from breeders on the potential of genome editing. So there is a wide range of opinions, and this is also our membership. It's just an example. So one of the projects in which we are involved, we are reflecting about what is the room of acceptance for these techniques. So we define having conversations with society, of course, mainly NGOs, but not only, which are the boundaries that they can accept, that we would accept, our companies will accept. And that's an example, just a visual example. So we define these boundaries, and we can do things inside, but we cannot do things outside, or we will find difficulties to do that. So when we consider all of these things, what we are asking, as I said before, is for a new regulation, adapted regulation. It is focused on the technology or on the product. That's also the conversations we are having with the Commission. So conclusions. Our members, they are asking, they would like to have new legislation based most, so this 70%, they would like new legislation based on the product obtained instead of the technology used. That's an important point because the GMO directive, as I said before, is not applicable for animals. The current procedure is long and costly, and the risk assessment is not possible to implement for animals. So if the European Union is not taking action, it's going to put in a weaker position the sector in Europe, but also research. And we have to define, engaging on dialogue, what is ethical, feasible, and accepted by the society. So we need more research. That is also something that we are asking again and again. And there is the question also, what do we do with imports? Because the European Commission and the discussion at the European level saying, well, perhaps we are going to wait for animals, but what do we do if we have these products in other countries? We have already this problem with GMOs in plants. We are not producing them. It's so complicated. We are not producing them, or just a bit in some regions but we are importing them every day. So we have also to have the discussion at the European level. And yeah, that's exactly the same again, just the last message. This new legislation that we are asking, the criteria has to be very simple. And very important thing is that we are acting within the network I was explaining you before, Fiber TP and FF. We need more research, but in the framework of responsible research and innovation. That is the concept in which we evolve and we are promoting. And an important point that we have to take into consideration, I already said it several times, is that we need acceptance from the public sector, the consumer, because the market is important. We are having milk labeled without GMO feed. So we have, if we go for legislation, we will go to put this kind of products in the market. We have to avoid this polarization. That's why we are doing all this research also in the social acceptance. Yeah, let's stay in touch. We have a new website since some weeks in which we have a lot of information. We have been having webinars during last year, like everyone, during COVID. And there are a few of them, they are related to balanced breeding. And we have two related to genome editing, one in general and another one just to focus in aquaculture. So don't hesitate to go there and consult all the information we can provide. Thank you.